Hi everyone and welcome back. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and here we are covering Airbnb clone application, and this is our code base which you can find at pnb.tksharma.com. This is the Next.js app, and now after discussing this architecture, we have already understood how we have integrated Nextauth with Auth0. Now we are going to focus on this particular area, like what should be the design. I mean, particular service design, like, okay, let's say if I want to build a simple search service, right, where you can actually search based on the location, based on the type, because when you go to airbnb.com, you can actually look for homestay, you can look for the hotels and all these things, right? So we are going to build a first search service which can be accessed through the Nest.js APIs through the proxy gateway, right? Because we don't want, okay, Nest.js API is hitting individual service endpoint. It will just hit the Nest.js API gateway. So I will just go into a little bit on the code. So this is our proxy service. What the proxy service is doing, it has all these. If you go to the main module here, this is the app module, and inside app module we have all these gateway interface, that whenever the request is coming for this v1 category manager, it will take it to the category managed middleware, because the job of the proxy is the request is coming for, let's say, from the Nest.js API is coming from localhost 3000. It will be just sitting simply like, okay, what is API, go to our main module. It will be hitting like v1 category manager API v1 API v1 course manager, simply like this. Let's say search, right? For us, for this interface, the endpoint is like this, but when it comes to the proxy, it is actually going to delegate it to the respective search service, which is happening through this middleware, right? It's like it is using the same create proxy middleware. HTTP proxy middleware is the module which will take the request using API v1 category manager and will take it to the category manager middleware. Similarly, let's say if I create a search, I don't think we have a search service. I can just use a booking service for that, but the interface can be simply search, right? I can create a separate middleware for it, and I will say is this can be a booking manager or search manager proxy. So inside interface, you will get a request something like this, API v1 search, and now you can decide which particular target service it is going to hit. Let's say my booking service is running on 3002, then it's fine, right? Either 3003, 3004. These services, booking, payment, property listing, search service, all these will be running on their different particular port. And here we can navigate, okay, it is to 3001, 3002, 3003, that we will decide here. Let's say search service is running on 3004. So whenever the request is coming from API v1 search, take it to 3004. User preference API, let's say if it is running on 3002, this is running on 3001. So this is how we will navigate. This is simply search. Now our focus is more on building these services, microservices, right? And here, because when there are some public APIs, because when you do go to airbnb.com, you can actually search the homestay or hotels publicly. I mean, you don't need to log in for that. So that's a public API. So search service will provide it. But there are some API like user preference APIs where you want to fetch your order history, your booking history, your user profile details. All that, for that you need to be logged in. You need to already have a session cookies that will be coming from proxy, and based on the cookies you can identify, okay, does your session exist? If your session exists, then only it will allow you to access the data based on identifying, okay, your token is valid in the session cookies, and then I will get to know your user and I will search in database and will give you. So first we are building the search service, which will be doing nothing but going to give you the options on the landing page. So if I Just go to the code base, and this is already running on 3000, I guess. 3000. So here we are going to give a simple search, and whatever the popular options and all, those will be coming from the search. Here currently I'm logged in. I can just do simply log out and my session will be reset. I can do the login and it will do the auth0 login. So this is a simple search. We can create a simple search bar, or I can just do a simple listing of the properties, and then we can just actually search. So we just need to create a simple page where you can actually search. And now search is based on your service. Search you can provide based on the location, based on the type. So I will do it in the two different ways. First, we will allow user to pass. So at least there are 2-3 options based on location. Let's say you pass the city name. We are doing it in the country base. Let's say this is, I'm building Airbnb for India. You will enter the Indian city and then you will get a Airbnb options. Then either you are looking for the homestay or some hut outside, because Airbnb stays can be of different type. Outdoor gateways, unique stays which are like totally outstanding, and then this entire homestay, hotels, some unique concepts, right? Then you can filter based on that and you will just see the listings. That all will be coming from the search service, and we can actually get that using just Nest.js API. So this is our app, and here I'm defining all the APIs which I'm going to create. Let's say search. So search is a public route, right? I don't need to check for the session here. If it is just to simply get, I can just get all the filter options, and I don't need to check the session. Let's say if I hit it right now, API v1, API search, this is the route I have right now, right? So if I do API search, so what it will give me, you're not logged in, because it is checking the session. That's correct, right? So I will just get rid of this thing, and here there are two different ways of building the endpoints in the Next.js. Either you can integrate a Prisma in the Next.js interface where you will be building everything inside this. You integrate it with a Prisma on top of this. I mean, that's a way of building things. Here you can have a Prisma and you build everything here. Prisma is a ORM, TypeScript based ORM, and it has a nice integration. I have built applications like that, but the only thing is I want a segregation of services into the microservices. So I'm not going to expose all the entity tables in the server side of the Next.js, where I can create API routes and I can access the data directly here. What I'm doing is I already have a services exposed. If you are logged in, you can check the session and then you can just return the data. So here response.json, here we can just return the maybe nodes array simple, right? So if you now try to hit this, you will just get the array. So this is what we are targeting. So now our most focus is on the Nest.js side, and then let's say I build a API v1 search interface. Then here I'm going to make a Axios call based on the request you are passing. Maybe there are some query parameters or filter criteria you are passing. I can access them here. Access query param and pass same to external service. So here we can just write a simple Axios call, right? It's already a sync. Make an Axios call here. Axios call get to service, get response, and return here. That's it. This is what we are going to do for the public. If there is a API is a private, then we will obviously check the session. If session is not there, then don't do this. If session is there, then you need to call. So here what we will do is make API call. Here we do have session, and session contains the token, access token, because what happens is here we are going to write a middleware. Here this is auth0 middleware. Why? Because once you are receiving the token, you need to validate the token against auth0 provider. Okay, whatever the token I'm getting in this microservice, is it valid? Okay, yes, it is valid. Then I will just return the response. Okay, it will decode it successfully based on the same auth0 credentials. If it is fine, the token is valid, user is correctly logged in, return him the data. So either you can create this as a package, and then we can use that auth0 package in every other microservice, because we are using monorepo, and that's an advantage of using monorepo. You can actually import these packages in the individual services, because we are doing similarly we are also using a database package type ORM DB module we are using, and then we are injecting that adding that DB module into all these services, or we are using them. Similarly, config service, logging service, all these reusable piece we can do. Sometimes like here we will also do the file upload. So maybe we can create AWS S3 module, upload module, and then that module can be used by any service like listing, booking, where you need to upload something, or like when we want to do a listing of a particular hotel, then you also need to upload some images. All these things can be done through the AWS S3, and we just use some publicly accessible URLs of S3 objects. Okay, this is the interface. So our call is here. Let's say I'm going to access the user preference data, user booking history and all. I will check the session. If session exists, make a XGOS call, pass the access token, that's it. And whatever the response you are getting, just return it using next response.json. That's it. So now next focus is picking one particular domain. Our first domain is the search interface. So this is our interface. Now what we can do is, let's say we create a search page and then allow user to search based on the city, locations and all. So that's the first interface, and that is going to do a whole microservice communication from here to there. Okay, so let's get started in the Nest.js. Now we will be just diving into the Nest.js services, and I will keep pushing the code, which whatever I'm going to add here. I will update the README file so that you can also configure the same ports for these services, because there is a particular port mapping. Proxy will hit 3001 to the search service, 3002 booking service, 3004 payment service. Same mapping you can do and build the whole service interface.